Hello everyone, I hope you're well. It's the 8th of April 2024. My name is Gary Waterman. I'm a former police officer. I was in the police for 18 years, and any of you that worked with me know that I worked incredibly hard for the public and also to try and make society a better place for everybody. Isn't that what we should all be doing? I'm also a Christian, and I have been personally victimised in relation to this, the largest financial crime in the history of mankind. But this is a really important video because it's aimed directly and personally at serving members of the police forces and the armed forces, and also to anyone working within government organisations that is innocent in all of this. The public need you now, more than ever. You need to understand that the heads of your organisations have been infiltrated and compromised in relation to this horrendous system of fraud and all of the sinister crimes that come with it. There is now irrefutable evidence that is circulating the globe that shows that the UK's Companies House registration system has been used in international government fraud. The evidence shows that it's been happening for decades. And in fact, the information suggests that Companies House that was set up in 1844 has been used for this very reason since it was created, to appear to be a way of regulating and monitoring and registering companies, but in fact being used for the opposite. It's worth multi-trillions of pounds worth in fraud. And of course, it links to the taxation system, through to real estate, and very worrying, sinister things that I'll talk about. So how has this been happening? Well, the Companies House registration system is based in the UK, and it's monitored and controlled, obviously, by staff within Companies House. Now, that is a government organisation, and companies from all over the world can register their companies there, or people with connections to UK companies can monitor or register their companies there. But it's very clear that the Companies House has actually been forging the Companies House register against the legal incorporation documents for companies. What this means is that it creates unlawful, illegal entity companies that are then still being allowed to trade, and means they cannot be held liable or accountable for any unlawful or illegitimate activity. And this has been allowed to happen by our very own government. There's only one reason they would allow that to happen, and that is because they want to allow this system of fraud and all the crime that comes with it to continue. They've also been allowing details to be used that are false. There's no verification of anyone's names or addresses or companies. Why? We have to verify everything, don't we? We have to provide our proof of identity, proof of address for most things. The government have allowed this deliberately. But they've also been allowing the banks to produce forged bank documents and allow those documents to be used in circulation for these companies to falsify their company figures and send the real money, the defrauded money, into offshore accounts. It must stop. These are crimes under the 2006 Fraud Act at the very least. And our government is complicit to it and all of the crime that comes with it. Now, even more sinister and more worrying is the fact that this links very closely to Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, Max Clifford, Jeffrey Epstein, and therefore Operation Yewtree and Jimmy Savile. It links through to politicians, their special advisors, even the World Trade Center disaster itself in every way, through every company I've researched, links in through this. But it also links through to an offshore island parliamentary group that has been set up, and that group links almost immediately to Ghislaine Maxwell, and therefore this system of possible child trafficking. The evidence from that links to information suggesting that there is systematic abuse and more sinister things happening in relation to children within the care service of our country. Back in 2022, when I first started identifying what was happening, I did the right things and I reported this to the relevant organisations. That was initially to my former police force, Dorset, and to Action Fraud. I then found evidence that that force was leaking information to a prime suspect that I'd named, who was a former Dorset police officer. and their wife, who was an NHS chief executive officer in charge of a £700 million budget and 10,000 staff. I had evidence that their accountant had been using these forged bank documents for years to falsify figures to Companies House. I then had information that other people within my company appeared to be relatives of the second in command of Dorset Police, who was overseeing the force where I was reporting this investigation. Not only that, but they had omitted all of their payments into the services of the building, meaning I and any other victims had been paying more than we should have done for years and being defrauded. Not long after this, I was followed repeatedly. I had an app popping up on my phone that was trying to find my location. My emails were being infiltrated, and even documents within emails were being altered. On 2 occasions, my wife and I, when we realised how serious this was becoming, we separated from the building. And on 2 occasions, within 2 days, items were tried to be stolen from our vehicle. And I had to chase one of those people off. And despite knowing all of this, I escalated all of this information and evidence and much more to the Serious Fraud Office and the Independent Office for Police Conduct. They refused to intervene. The Independent Office for Police Conduct even shared my comprehensive statement with Dorset Police without my consent, knowing all of this. That puts me and my family in serious risk of harm and danger. I then found evidence that linked the head of those organisations to this very system of fraud through Companies House. This was escalated to the Home Office and government officials who refused to intervene. I then found evidence linking politicians, as I've already said, to this system of fraud. It must stop. We cannot have a government running the country that is deceitful, that lies, that is corrupt, that defrauds and commits crime against its own public, that is connected to international child trafficking. It must stop. We must get to a world where there is truth, transparency, and trust. We must think of the safety of our children. We all teach our children, don't we? Please don't lie to us. Please respect others. Treat others how you want to be treated. Support and help those in need. Where's that gone? We can't have a government that don't have that same value and principle. Truth is everything. So, there is a point when the public have to take a stand. Now, it's clear that the organisations that should be dealing with this are not doing so. I've been emailing 650 or so MPs over the last few months. I'm receiving no responses. I've contacted HMRC, even their own representative on the phone said they agree that the taxation system is criminal and corrupt. You can watch the videos. I've publicised all of this on my YouTube, including the emails. The child that I've recently been helping with, I'm in contact with the family almost every day. Concerns of this child in the care system. That child links everything that I'm talking about. Even links to people within my company. And yet you've hopefully seen the call I made to Hampshire and Isle of Wight police in relation to this, saying I have the evidence of all of this. You need to remove that child from that system right now. The doctor, the social workers, the judges, the school, the solicitors, all linked to this system of child trafficking and fraud. You need to get the child out. I have the evidence. Let me give you the evidence. They said they'd contact me. I've had nothing. No response. The family have had no response, other than a crime number being generated, but nothing appears to be being done. I was a former police officer, and I am a former police officer, and there is clear evidence of this trying to be concealed. So, the public now have to seriously consider forming public national arrest teams, peaceful arrest teams, to remove those involved in this from being allowed to continue to do so. It must be stopped. This is linked to extremely sinister things, and I believe we are all in imminent danger from these people. The vaccine situation links through to this. The Gaza conflict links through to this. Most of the things that we're seeing, as I've said, links through to this. Most scandals that we're seeing. Murders appear to be happening in relation to this. So we have to remove these people. They have to be overthrown peacefully by the people, with the support of those that are innocent within the public services. It's a difficult time, but it's an extremely positive time, because we need to know what the problem is so that we can resolve it properly. And how can it be resolved? Well, it's now essential that we have a fully transparent taxation system where you can see at the source of payments the collective income and the expenditure through transactions from those accounts, so the public know where their contributions are being spent. It's now essential that there is full verification for company registrations to ensure that there is liability and accountability for any companies that want to be involved in unlawful or illegitimate activity. There must be strict legislation to prevent politicians from being able to make decisions for their own personal financial incentives or affiliated incentives. We need reassurance that we are not going to move to a cashless society. The financial system is now panicking over all of this, and they have now publicised expedited proposals to move to a cashless society and a central bank digital currency system. This cannot happen. Why can't it happen? Well, because at the moment, you and I can withhold our tax contributions as a peaceful way of protest against any corrupt or unlawful government policies. If they remove cash, how do we stand up to and stop a policy such as reducing the age of sexual consent to 10, which those in Parliament that are still there appear to be looking to do in the last few decades? 10. How do we stand up to this if they remove cash? They know this, and that's why they're trying to bring this further forward. Now, even blockchain technology, some of you may not know about it all, I'm not an expert on it, but it's technology that was supposedly going to be used to digitize currency. That has been corrupted by the same people involved in this system of fraud and all of the sinister crimes that come with it. It's been shown through the documents and videos that's been shown. So we need reassurance that we are not going to move to a cashless society. In relation to real estate, we need transparency for the management of real estate to protect leaseholders, to ensure that they know that their money that they're spending on their building is being used in the way they are led to believe. Transparency is the key. So, stand by your public, peaceful public, no matter what religion you are, background, ethnicity, culture, sex. Stand together over the next few months. The real problem is our government. It can be changed, and only those that agree to similar things that I've said can really be trusted now with all of this. Hopefully, I mean, that's my personal opinion, of course, but hopefully most of you will understand and agree why that is necessary. Anyway, God bless you all. Thank you so much for listening. It's going to be an interesting few months, that's for sure.